I finally did it. I'm officially done with everything. What is up, guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. This episode of Tuesday Talks has a huge life update, and I'm just so excited to share it with you guys. Now, this past week, like I mentioned last week, has been super busy just with finishing up with school, work, studying, all my finals, stuff like that. It really has been just a stressful week. And I can really feel myself kind of starting to trip over myself. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had this feeling, whether you're in college or high school, or maybe you're already in your career, but you kind of reach that point where you know the end is near for whatever goal, whatever project you want to work on. And as you get to that end goal, you start to really just trip over yourself. You feel like you're getting tired easier. You feel like it's harder for you to, you feel like you're not even going to make it. You feel like you're going to trip before you get to the finish line. And that's kind of how I've been feeling for the past week. Every semester, even when I was a freshman, sophomore, junior, I always felt each semester like that final 2 weeks, I was just kind of starting to trip over myself. And for this semester, even more so, because I knew that if I trip over myself, then I don't get to graduate. If I fail one of my classes, I don't get to graduate. And that's obviously a big deal. I'd never really run into that issue in the past, and I didn't really run into it this time, but I definitely had some difficulties towards the end of the semester, including my econ class, which is what I'll get into for the majority of this video. But overall, this week, like I said, was super stressful. I had a lot of work. You might be able to tell from my voice, but this weekend on Friday and Saturday, I started to get sick, which is really annoying. I've now gotten sick like 3 or 4 times in the past 3 months or so, and it really is annoying. I think it's just over stress on my body. I'm not sleeping well enough. There's a lot of things that I know are probably the cause. I think this sickness specifically was purely just stress-induced. I hadn't been sleeping great, and then sure enough, I'd been working too much, and it just started to hit me. Luckily, it is already kind of starting to get over with, and I really hope that now that I kind of have a lot of the stress off my back, which I'll get into later in this video, I'm hoping that this sickness can clear up, and hopefully I stay healthy for a longer amount of time. But like I mentioned, is today, the day I'm filming this. In fact, as of 30 minutes from hitting record, I finished my econ final, and this is the final that I have really been stressed about for probably 3 or 4 weeks now. This final was 30% of my overall grade. It was cumulative of the entire semester worth of knowledge. We didn't get any note sheets, nothing. And I don't know, that's just a lot. I haven't had a lot of finals in the past that were over the entire semester worth of knowledge. Typically you have a midterm, and then the final will just kind of cover that final section of the class. But this one was different, and I've never had a final worth 30% of my grade. The midterm was also 30% of our grade in this class, and our quizzes, which there were only 6 of them, were grouped up together, was another 30% of the grade. So you can see how the testing environment for this class was extremely stressful. And going into this final with no other grades other than the final 30%, I had an 83%. So if I want to graduate and walk across the stage later this week, then I needed to stay above a 70% in the class. Now, if you know how to do some basic math, that means I literally cannot fail the test. If I fail the test, my grade drops over 15% because of how heavily weighted it is. So that is extremely stressful. It's all short answer, like complex problems. It really was a lot. And I'm very fortunate to say that I studied this weekend. I stressed myself out to the max. I'm not a big studier. I've never been a big studier. That's just something that I've kind of gone through education with. But for this one, I did study, and I think it paid off. When I walked out of that class, I really didn't get stuck on any of the problems. I felt really good, or at least good enough that I'm not worried about not passing the test. So that is probably the biggest update I have for you guys this week. It really just feels amazing to be finally done. Now, in terms of college, I actually do have a presentation still later this week, but it's not something I'm stressed about. I'm really good at presentations. I'm really well versed on the project that we worked on in that class. And overall, I just enjoy kind of going up there, talking about the slides, presenting, talking about a topic that I'm actually interested in, because the project was actually really cool. But enough boring you guys about my school stuff. I am officially done with all of the hard, stressful pieces of college. And on Thursday, you guys are watching this on Tuesday. On Thursday is the last day of school. And on Friday morning, I walk across that stage at graduation. Now, I'm sure I'm going to be making a video separate from this one that really just goes over that crazy important milestone in my life and how it feels and how it relates to so many different aspects of my life, what I've learned. And if you're interested in any of that, feel free to stay tuned, because that will be coming out later this week. But this week has been crazy. Tomorrow actually is my last day at my job, which is crazy. I had just started there pretty recently, but the people I met there were amazing. I've been working there every single day throughout this semester, and so it's kind of surreal that I'm finally no longer working and actually starting to transition towards this postgraduate lifestyle. And I'm sure, like I said, I'll get into a lot of that stuff in other videos, including next week's Tuesday update will be a big one, because that will kind of cover all the fun with my family and graduation and stuff like that. But in terms of this week's video, that's pretty much it. I finished my final. I worked hard. I got over a sickness. I also hit a new low weight. I know you guys have been getting updated on kind of my working out and my diet recently. I'm currently sitting at 181 pounds, 0.4. So that is crazy low for me. Typically it's hard for me to maintain that low. And right now I look pretty fucking crazy. I'm gonna be honest. I look pretty crazy, and it's honestly super hype. So maybe I'll make a video and I'll kind of show you guys some of that transformation in the near future. But that's just a little update on that. Diet's been going well. School is now officially done. Work is starting to finish up. And I have family coming in this week for graduation. So I'm super excited for this upcoming week. If you guys learned anything from this video or have any questions for me, or maybe you guys are going through a similar situation at the moment, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your guys' story or your opinions. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and hit that subscribe button and tune in for future videos. I make videos like this every single week, as well as other videos that are super important at building a community of people that just want to better their life. If you want to go through your life and audit it in every aspect, whether that's financial, your fitness, whether that's just your mental health and your mental clarity, we go over all those important topics on this channel. So if you guys enjoyed, hit that subscribe button and tune in for future videos. I'm going to head to my second to last day of work right now. I hope you guys enjoyed, and remember, keep grinding, keep working hard every single day towards your goals, and make people remember your name. Peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one.